Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Base Paths and Brewskis. It's been a while since we've got to talk some Brewers, get to talk whatever else is going on, and we are back. We are back. Episode 17. We got Dom with us. What's up, Dom?
What up?
Let's jump into the BP beer of the pod. It is water. I drank like a fish on my vacation after I graduated. We'll get into that a little bit later. So I am staying off alcohol for a little bit until it feels right. I am. I don't even want to think about it. I just need to rehydrate. So let me get a nice sip of this quality H2O here. Ah, yes. Shout out the 4-year-old Brita filter that's still hanging on and filtering this water so greatly.
That
Um,
is disgusting.
anyway, moving on. Let's talk. That's me at graduation. Face reveal. Uh,
Who's
um,
a child?
yeah. In case you're not watching the YouTube video, if this is Spotify, there's like a small Asian child wearing a pink graduation outfit. Um, it is actually not me. And then the picture
Confirmed.
on the right is me. I also got engaged over after my graduation and while I was in the Cayman Islands. So
Let's
that
fucking
was pretty
go.
cool. Yeah, it was pretty
Let's
cool.
fucking go.
Obviously, a great lady, Haley. She'll be appearing on some episodes here coming up. And yeah, so excited about that. But let's get back to the real exciting stuff, the
What the
Brewers.
fuck, man?
It's brewer time, baby. So since I'll kind of drop it off to you in a second here to just talk a little bit about whatever you're thinking. But since my last episode, I think I've gone to 2 games now. I went to the Yankee game, the first one that we got like ran over, where it was like 15-1. Owen Miller was pitching at the end of the game, and pretty much I got treated the same way by alcohol as the Brewers did by the Yankees. I got fucking ran over that game. So that I was pretty down in the dumps leaving that game as I did not feel great. Everything was spinning and the Brewers got smacked. So that wasn't very cool. And then I also went to the game against the Cardinals. I'm trying to think. It was the Sonny Gray start. Um, who
Which
did
they
we
hit
have?
him pretty hard, didn't they?
Yep.
Yeah,
They kept
that
him in
was.
for a long time, and we just kept hitting him. That's kind of when Joey Ortiz really was starting this hot streak he's on. I think Jake Bowers had a home run that game. We were just hitting that guy. So Sonny Gray's a great pitcher. So to get to do that is like nothing to scoff at by any means. Like that's typically doesn't happen. Uh, so it was really cool to see that. But how about you, man? How's your Brewer experience been going as of late?
Lately, they've been a tough watch. It seems
Yep.
like they'll have one game where they'll put up 7, 8 runs, and the offense looks good, and then they'll just go 3 games where it's like none of them have ever picked up a bat before.
Yeah, that is what it looks like. And we were kind of talking a bit before we started recording about just how mid the offense has looked, and it just doesn't seem like there's much rhythm. I think obviously the recency bias of things to talk about is this last series. Sorry, I have my retainer in, so if I'm like slurring my speech, that's why I am not back on the liquor. It is water, I swear. Um, no, so this last series, I believe it was 3 straight left-handed pitchers we faced to
Hmm.
start, and in that time, Bryce Terang started 0 games. He had I think 2 at bats. Joey Weimer pinch ran 1 time, made 1 appearance, which is surprising to me considering typically his righty versus lefty matchup is kind of what I would figure would be a more ideal. But we also then Sal Frelick, I don't think had 1 at bat the whole series. So just like with that on the table, what are you thinking in terms of like where Pat Murphy's mindset is? Because I know when you have a platoon like that, the what makes the platoon work is staying true through the highs and lows, staying true to what your lineups are going to be. But I mean, shit, dude, we're not even hitting the ball, and we got Andrew Monasterio, no offense to him, I love him, great player, but leading off playing second base, and Bryce Terang is sitting his ass on the bench. So, I mean, what do you think about that?
Yeah, Bryce Trang should not be out for any reason unless he's injured. He, I think he brings an aspect to the offense of just consistently finding ways to get on base that they need, especially now.
Yeah.
Whether it's hard hit liners or they're those soft slap hits opposite field that he always does, and then you get him on base, you're looking at potentially stealing one or two bags. I mean, that's something they've needed, is somebody who can get on base and then get into scoring position. Because yeah, watching Gary Sanchez on first base try to get drove in by Andrew Monasterio it's tough to watch.
Mhm. Yeah, and again, I don't think that's any knock on Monasterio. Like I
It's
love
not.
him as a player. I think he's a fantastic fielder. He usually works pretty good at bats, so I can see why they had him in the leadoff spot. But I mean, and I this may sound, kind of stupid, but if you're playing a video game and you got MLB The Show, you got a nice young player like Bryce Terang, like you're not sitting him out like that. You're not going to platoon a guy like that when he's having kind of a breakout season. Why would you, hinder that growth? And, even if he doesn't hit lefties as well as righties, or even if he struggles against lefties, he's still playing every day, which gives you that confidence. You don't have to come out after sitting for 3 games and try and start, maybe it could be 5, 6 in a row. Who knows? Like, it's hard for, I'm assuming at least it's harder for young guys to have that inconsistency compared to like veterans like Gary Sanchez, who knows that he is going to be the lefty killer. That's what he's there for. He'll pinch hit against lefties, start against lefties, but like he's a veteran guy, so that's a good role for him. But I just don't. I quite frankly don't get the Bryce Terang sitting. I'm Sal Frelick a little bit. I understand a little bit more considering Blake Perkins how he's been playing. Yelich has to play every day, and then whoever's in right field, that's kind of been switching, rotating through. But I mean, we didn't
Yeah,
even play Jake Bowers, so I'm a little confused by it, but
yeah, and Bryce Trang's. I mean, he's hitting 222 versus lefties and 18 at bats, but his on base percentage is still 333
mhm.
versus his right-handed split of 369. So it's, even if he's not hitting as often versus lefties, his ability to get on base is something that I don't think should be wasted away on the bench.
Right. And I mean, like a guy like Bryce Terang, I think it's a great point you just made of, you didn't look at his OPS or his slugging, which, they might not be bad, but he is an on base player. He's a fast on base player who plays damn good second base, and that's what he's there for. So if he's getting on base, doing his job against righties and lefties, I don't see why we're limiting his opportunities. Especially when, like you mentioned before, too, his stolen base, just the way he can get on and just fly around the bases, probably one of the fastest guys in the league. So, I mean, it's fun watching him do that. But I think we can also turn a bit to we had kind of talked about before we started recording as well, some of the bad luck that we've been experiencing. I think this can be seen with umpire calls, umpire decisions to, uh,
Injuries to our
yeah,
pitchers, yeah,
injuries, just bad hops,
yeah.
awkward things happening in general. Um, what's your take on that? Do you think the baseball gods will kind of even it out later in the season, or do you think that this is just kind of something that the team has to deal with?
Yeah, I think at some point it's got to even out or kind of turn in our favor. And I'd rather we get all of this shitty luck out of the way now versus in September when we're fighting for hopefully uh, the division title.
Yeah.
So you know what? It hurts to see now, but I think they'll get it together. I think Pat Murphy still on his first year being the Brewers manager. They've had terrible luck with injuries, especially to starters. I think it can't sustain like this. It's unreasonable to think it would stay this bad for this long.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I think credit is deserved to some of the guys that are filling in for these injuries, like Robert Gasser. He's been pitching great. I know his line the other night. I obviously don't have it pulled up like I normally do, but it looks a little more concerning than it really was. He pitched pretty good. I think it was like 5 runs, 4 earned, a decent amount of hits. But he's I think they've won all 3 games that he has started. So I mean, obviously he's doing something right. He's giving the bullpen a bit of a break by being able to go 5, 6 innings, and that's just what we need. It's hard to win uh, games in a 162 game season when your bullpen is throwing 5, 6 innings every game. So shout out to
Yeah.
guys like Gasser. We've had a lot of dudes come up in the bullpen. Koenig is one that I always. Ever since he made his debut, I've been hyping this guy up. He's been pretty solid out of the bullpen. Um,
Uh, Brian
just lots of
Hudson
yeah. Hudson's
is
been
out.
great.
Yeah,
Dude's kind of a freaky looking guy. He's so tall, but
he is.
um, and then I mean Tyler Black came up, made his debut. We've got a lot of dudes coming up. Chris Roller was up. Who are some of
They
these
just
other?
called up Bradley Blaylock.
Oh, Blaylock.
Blaylock.
Yep,
Okay,
yep. He'll be.
Blaylock.
I think he's in the bullpen as of now, and could potentially start some games.
Uh,
Um, but yeah, tomorrow we're in Boston tonight, and then we'll start the series with them tomorrow. So
you know who
uh,
is going first on the
uh
mound
Bryce
for
Wilson, it looks like,
Bryce Wilson? Okay.
against Cutter Crawford. So that
That is a
Crawford's
sick name.
yeah. Oh, if you have that name, you're born to be a pitcher. I
Yeah.
mean, that is, but
Cutter
he's
Crawford.
having like a pretty incredible season in Boston there, along with a lot of the other guys in their rotation. I think Nick Pivetta is pitching good. Brian Bayo, who they extended in the offseason, is pitching pretty good. I'm
Tanner
I know,
Houck
yeah,
is
yeah,
pitching
Tanner
pretty
Houck.
well.
Yep. I think he's on my fantasy team, so shout out him. Uh, he's obviously pitching great. So I think this will be a good series. Um, it'll definitely be a test of can we bounce back from the Marlins. I'm hoping that this Marlins series was a bit of just growing pains with the platoon and maybe playing down to your competition a bit. That's kind of what I'm hoping. But
Yeah.
it'll be fun to watch some games in Fenway Park. After that series, we'll kind of be able to get back on track with our series recaps and stay a little more organized. But the last topic I kind of wanted to touch on was actually not Brewers related. Um, the Chicago Cubs, they're right behind us in the division. They look pretty good, and Shota Imanaga looks like he could be a Cy Young winner. Definitely Rookie of the Year as of now. But I mean, if
Yeah.
he pitches the way he does, there's no way you can't give him a Cy Young. And I think he's on like a 13 or 15 million dollar deal, which I mean that's like third, fourth, fifth guy in the rotation money nowadays. So kind of a crazy steal. What do you think about that team? And is there a lot to worry about with Craig Counsell leading them and kind of the hot streak they've been on as of late?
That team, yeah, they stress me out a bit with how close they are and how talented they are, but also with Craig Counsell at the helm, you know, I've seen online a lot of the frustrations with Cubs fans that us Brewers fans had the past few seasons with Craig.
Yep.
So I think, he's his tendencies likely aren't going to change, but they're just so talented that they may be able to just kind of override his where he lacks in managerial skills.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's a lot of just kind of passive. Um, it, it's almost like overthinking. I don't know how to even describe his managerial style, but it's crazy how much money he got. It
Yeah, it's
must
like
just be
he
kind of a known name that is why he got the money. But
yeah,
um,
it's like he overthinks. Like he makes a decision and then doesn't tell anybody about the decision and then just
yeah,
decides not to do it.
yeah, he seeks like zero advice. It's kind of like when you're like drunk and you're gonna do something stupid. You always tell someone like, hey, I'm about to do this. And so you might get that like tap on the shoulder, like, maybe we should just sit down for a second. Like, it's like he doesn't really seek that advice. He's the kind of guy that just kind of like, jumps off the roof into the table and hopes that nothing goes wrong. Um, but yeah, I'm excited. I know we have a 4 game series with them after the Boston series, so that'll be pretty fun to watch. Freddie Peralta will be pitching that series, so that's always fun to watch as well. But
Yeah.
obviously Bryce Wilson tomorrow will be tuning in. I hopefully will be tuning in as I've been missing too many games by being busy and stuff, and it'll be nice to get back on track, watch some games. We'll be able to put out another episode Monday morning after that series, so that'll be nice. But kind of wrapping up this a little bit, we're going to keep it a little brief. The War Draft update.
Oh no.
Oh man. So
No.
we'll start with my team up top. I have 3.1 total WAR with Freddie Peralta kind of boosting me up with 1.2. Abner Uribe is sitting at 0 despite having pitched. I honestly was just happy it was not negative. Now, this
Yeah.
is this is F WAR, so Fangraph WAR. If you go look at Baseball Reference, I think he has a negative, but I used Fangraph WAR for everyone because it allows you to separate by the positions they've played. So that's why, as you can see, Yelich has only DH like 3, 4, 5 games maybe. So he doesn't
Yeah.
have any WAR, which kind of sucks. And I'm honestly surprised Churio had any positive WAR, which he's had a decent season, but I mean he's had some like low moments for sure. But obviously Gary
Yeah.
Sanchez as backup catcher got me zero point 0.3 WAR so far. Joey Ortiz was the biggest pull for me, 1.5 WAR already. At the third base spot. Obviously, the WAR was going to be there because of the solid glove. I mean, that's kind of his calling card of why we traded for him, or at least included him in the trade. But his bat he's been turning it up lately. I mean, hitting bombs. Like he is hitting for power, which is something I didn't really expect from him, but it's pretty cool to see. And in person, it was really cool to see. He's a, pretty compact guy, has a nice swing. So that was pretty cool to see. Obviously, like I mentioned, Chorio zero point 0.1, and then Yelich with 0 in my DH spot. And I'll let you kind of run through your squad here.
Yeah. So we got Wade Miley injured. Um, Devin Williams, hopefully, they're hoping he'll be back by end of July.
Yep.
So hopefully he can, have a end of the season explosion there for me. Gonna
Yeah.
need it.
Yeah.
William Contreras has been what I'd say the team MVP so far. He's
Yeah. Yeah.
carrying us right now.
Yeah.
Hoskins has spent a lot more time DHing than I thought he would before the season.
Yeah.
Um, I, I'm trying to think, and he's also injured.
Yep.
Uh, oh, that's Weimer. I totally forgot. Yeah, Weimer is going back and forth between here and Nashville. It seems like, and he just can't seem
Yeah.
to get things going.
Yep.
And then Owen Miller, yeah, he's taken
He,
over at
had,
first
he
base. Well,
Yeah, he just hasn't DH'd a game yet, so that's why I didn't include anything for him. But um, yeah, I think honestly, I mean, things can't always work out perfectly, but if you would have a dirty team if you had Reese Hoskins in your DH and Willie Adames as your infield,
I know,
your team would be nasty.
I know,
But
it's brutal. I didn't
shout
realize
out
that they would.
William Contreras still keeping you in the fight though. I mean,
He
he could win
is.
it if he like is in the MVP voting. That means he has probably 5, 6 WAR. So I mean, that could keep you in the fight alone.
That'll
Um,
keep me in it till Devin comes back, and hopefully he can do Devin
yeah,
things.
and I think Reese Hoskins can honestly bump his WAR up as well if he plays more innings at first base. Um,
Yeah,
which
Bauer
obviously, go ahead.
kind of coming along. It's tough to say how much he'll get at first base.
Yeah, yeah, I know Bowers is a good fielder too. That I mean, it's a game now like the way we play it. Um, Run prevention is kind of the hot term being used of having. It's basically just means having good pitching and good fielders, and that's kind of been our formula. as a franchise to this point. So yeah, I don't know. It's kind of fun doing this little word draft though, and
It
it'll be
is.
fun to keep track of more throughout the season. There was no real meaningful reason that I stopped and calculated it now, but it just I was at work today and a little bored, so I decided to do it. So there it is. But we'll wrap it up a little bit here. Obviously, we're gonna have the B&B beer requests. If you have any beers you've been dying to try, have a go-to beer that I need to try, comment or reach out on any of the socials listed below with what I should drink next. When I was in the Caymans, I actually had K Brew, which is their local beer. It was not too bad. It was refreshing. And they also make a mango tango. It's kind of like a mango cart that we have here. Yeah, it was pretty tasty, so that was pretty good stuff. But I'll have to go out and grab some beers or a beer. I'm definitely trying to take it easy. I'll go grab one for Sunday night after the Boston series. But yeah, anything else you got to say? Wrap up. Anything you're especially looking forward to going in against the Red Sox?
I always love watching games when they're at Fenway. It's probably the most aesthetically pleasing ballpark, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So, it'll be fun. Be fun how they prove themselves against a AL team.
Yeah, I feel you. I think it's going to be, good atmosphere, good pitching, and hopefully some good results from the Brewers.
I want to
So with
see
that,
Will. I want to see William Contreras put a ball through Fenway.
yeah, put
With
it
how hard he's
through
been
the
hitting the ball,
monster.
yeah, just put it through.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt him. I mean, he hits the ball hard pretty much every swing. So, dude's been awesome to watch, and not to mention his like defense is, almost top tier catching in the league. So, the
Yeah,
dude's, I mean, what a I hope we extend him. I mean, that's like, I think he's one of those dudes. I think he's like 25, 26 maybe.
yeah,
He could definitely get a nice extension, um, and just be a career brewer well, not a career brewer, but for the rest of his career, be a brewer. That'd be cool to see.
yeah,
We don't have a ton of guys like that besides like Braun. I mean, I can't think of many guys who have been with the Brewers their whole career and stuck it out. So, I mean, that'd
yeah.
be cool to see. But yeah, man. Well, with that being said, we're gonna wrap this up. I'll take not the last sip of my water here. It's just still got a little left. Take one more sip though. And thank you for listening. The beer is gone because there was none. The podcast is done. Thank you guys. Have a good one.